Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Try Bonsai. It's your boy Bana, and today, my friends, what I am doing today and what I'll be doing for a few videos, well, at least so I think, is that, as I mentioned before, we are into the rainy season, and as a result, everything is greening up nicely. But when you have a lot of things greening up nicely, what you have is a lot of clutter. And because of, as I mentioned before, the confinement of space, I need to make sure that my things look a little bit orderly, you know? So what we're going to do, I am going to start doing some pruning to some of my trees, right? Not pruning them to shape, because quite frankly, I am young in the grand scheme of the bonsai thing. You know, I've learned a lot and I'm learning a lot as I go along, but I'm relatively young in the grand scheme of things. And some of my trees are not necessarily in need of pruning to shape, but pruning back to develop a shape in future, or to develop that look that I want for that particular tree in the future. Yeah. So with that said, what you have in front of your face here, my friends, is a strawberry guava. Now, I've had this strawberry guava for a while, a couple of years well, and it was pretty small when I got it. I took the opportunity to plant it into this bucket, and it has taken off in growth. And only it real growth, it up there, the growth up there. You know, so the thing is to bring it back down and start the development of something of a canopy on this particular tree. And when we finish with this, no, we're not going to take any grandeur amount of time, at least I think so. When I'm finished with this, I'm going to try to see how many other trees I could get to today in this particular video without making the video too excessively long and, for lack of a better way, boring. You know? So, let me just go. So, my friends, giving you a quick view on this tree from base up. This is the root base that is developing very nicely. And as you can see, I have a very low branch. I have a couple low branches. And it comes up with a bit of shape that it created for itself. This has no wire work at all. And it goes all the way up, up to this point. And what I want to do is to reduce the height and get this tree to give me a lot more back budding. So to condense the growth, reduce the height. I like how the trunk is developing, and what I'll have to do is to pick a particular height that I want this tree to be and start developing over the coming years. So that's what we're going to do with this particular tree. So, all right, friends, let me get this thing going. Today is Tuesday, the 24th of June, and the year is moving quickly along, swiftly along. So, what we have happening here is I need to choose a height for this tree. And ideally, I have some movement coming along. And the trunk is not boring at all. The trunk is not boring. It makes some really nice bends. But as it stands right now, now, granted, I can go up to about here and cut here and develop something. But from this point, let me turn it so that you could see. Right. So from here to here is a bit straight. And then from here going onward is straight as well. So taking that into consideration, and I've never worked with this particular tree in this type of setting before. As I said, I got it and I concentrated on growing the tree. So, only I'm going to make the big sacrifice. I am going to take this off at this point here, or probably a little bit higher. Let's say here, right? And I'm going to remove all of the branches that I don't want, the much lower branches, or I may leave them. I don't know. As we go along, we will see. And all of the other branches that I'm keeping, I am going to cut them back to compress that growth. So, according to my partner, big cut coming up. So, I have tool in hand, and I am going to, at this point here, let's hope that this tool could do the job. As a matter of fact, hold a minute, before I damage this, I have a brand new tool to check. So hold on. So my friends, I have me here a brand new loppers. Brand new. Now, a little backstory, a quick backstory on this and how this came to be is that I borrowed a set of loppers from my good friend Errol. And earlier, in doing some work, I break the man thing. I broke my friend's loppers. So I replaced it, and whilst I was replacing it, I decided, you know what? Let me get one for myself, yes? Because you see this bacchanal, let me get one for myself. So if at any given point in time this breaks, it's because it's mine. So the christening of this brand new lopper. And as I said, I'm going to go up to this point here. Right? And as my friend has said, big cut coming up. Was I supposed to say timber? I don't know. But yeah, that is it. I took the entire top off. Sorry for the bad work, but I took the entire top off. And I don't know if this particular species would grow from a cutting. Don't know, and it's not bothering me right now. So this is what we have happening here, my friends. And as I took this top off, what I'm going to start to do is to look at, I would like some growth happening at the top here. I really would, you know, creating that kind of a canopy. So I'm going to reduce some things roughly at first, and then we're going to look at developing or creating that canopy. Yeah. So all of the long sprawling out branches are going to reduce. It's going to get a very severe haircut today. A very, very severe haircut today. And what I'm going to do is hope that this creates something nice for me. Now, all of the branches that are low down, friends are taking it off. I'm taking them off. Because I want this thing to push this energy up to the top. I want to get some nice back burden to the top of this tree. I can't leave this. There's a branch down here. I know you all can't see it. So let me adjust that. So there is a branch down here that I can potentially leave to grow out. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that it would look so nice. And I'm trying to get right, trying to get my camera to focus. So I can't leave this here, trying to focus, but it's getting some interference. I can't leave this here to grow out something like a twin trunk. But nah, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to cut this back, leaving this back to a bare bones type situation. And from this bare bones type situation, let's see what we could create from this. What do you say? Are you with me? Come with me now, man. Let me get through this excitement together. So I took off this lower branch here, and this is going upward. So I have this here going at a pretty nice angle. I also have this here with this branch just above it. The question is, do I want which one of these? I need to choose one. Right? I need to choose one. And I think I will remove this one because it's shooting straight up. Yeah. And my friends, as you can see, it gives you this nice flaky bark. So that is it for this. Back to nothing. Just a very nicely bent stick in a pot. Let's see what happens. And as my friend Tom Novak says, they preach positivity into your plants, and the positivity will come out in its growth. So, not let me see what happens. When this starts to grow, we're gonna make some magic with this. Yeah? So let's move on swiftly to the next tree. Yeah? Alright. Next up, my good friends, is this Suriname Cherry. And unlike the Strawberry Guava, the Suriname Cherry has a lot of branches to choose from. A lot of branches. But it also has a very high top. So, just like the Strawberry Guava, I'm going to remove the top of this and look at where and what I want to create. You know, taking into consideration my friend Tom from Grow and Clip Bonsai's acronym OTC: Observe, Think, and Then Cut. Using that acronym, I am going to do some work. Now, just a little tidbit, I did actually do a cut on this before, here at this point, and it healed over and grew out this as the new lead. Now, the healing point, okay, it healed over okay-ish enough. But there's a choice that has to be made. And the choice is, how tall do I want this? And from what it has now, what do I want to keep? What do I want to get rid of? But ideally, regardless of what I do, what I want to do is to compact this growth and not have it so far and wide. Right? So, with that said, my friends, I have comes up, I have a branch, on the side here. This was where I made a cut, and it wanted to look like This was a graft, you know. Or let this heal as though it was grafted on, but it wasn't. It was not at all. You know, so we have this coming here, but we have this lead coming up here. So how tall do I want it? I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this top piece. Right? I'm going to remove this top piece here. Here's a nice branch. Here's a nice one. Here's a nice one. However, I can't have this and this. So I'm going to remove this center, keep this, take away this top. Let's see. So, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And that is down. And from here now, let's take a deeper look into this quickly and start taking away what we don't want, keeping what we want, and all towards, but all towards the development of a great tree in the future. So I have a bit of a dilemma here. And the dilemma is, as I said, here is a cut point. It looks as though it was grafted, but it was not grafted. And from this point here, there is these sets of branches here. There is this branch that comes off here. And then there is this young lead that comes up. Now, if I were to look at it from this angle, this branch that comes across comes from a weird kind of an angle. And it's very, very thick and coming up. This is a pretty decent back branch here. This is a decent branch here. But this, my friends, is very, very weird. So my thing is, one of these has to go. But is which one has to go? Now, if I were to choose this as the front, this would be a very ugly front for it. Very, very ugly indeed. And now that I'm looking at it in observing, when I removed this top piece here, this is very thick in comparison. This would make a much better lead, so I could reduce this a bit, because this branch, because of the vigor that was being pulled into this, it is very, very thick in comparison. It's equal to or slightly bigger than this lead. So now is the time to make the sacrifices. So I'm going to remove this completely and look at it again. But as I said before, the original dilemma that we have is this here. And as you can see, it doesn't look, I don't like it. It don't look nice at all, and I don't want to chop off everything. I want to be able to save something. But it's what I'm going to save. As I said it, I thought it. So, if I were to remove this and remove this, leaving this as the side branch, let's see how that works. If not, then this entire piece will come off. And let's see if we get something new from this. Yeah? Alright, so we know what we're doing. Let me get to it. So first things first, I'm going to take this off here. Taking that off. In taking that off, I have a bit of cleaning to do. So I'm going to clean up this cut. Okay, so I made a lot of cuts and it's a little bit two-dimensional right now. But as time goes on, the dimensions will come into play. I think the cuts that I've made were very good cuts, very important cuts. I might have taken off one or two things that a little bit much, but all that is part of the thing, right? I think I am comfortable with where it is right now, and I look forward to what this can be developed into as we move into the future. Now, this ideally is the general height that I'm looking at. You know, if I could create something around this particular height, no, not if. When I create something around this particular height, paying attention to the growth, removing things that I don't want, and encouraging things that I do want. And in future, we should have a pretty nice tree. But as it stands for structure, I am comfortable with it right now. I think it is okay in my eyes. It is okay in my eyes. Yeah? So, no such a long thing. Let me move on to something else. Quick, fast, and in a hot hurry.